Steve Negary, and then Luke Johnson with the New Orleans Picayune.
I was just wondering, I've heard so much about this wide receiver class. What makes it so good? What's such a start? And just historically, how much better is this group of wide receivers than maybe a previous draft class? Kind of fair.
Well, it's the depth, and I think it's seeing guys like, you think about a Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State, who's a really good player, ran 4.5 at a 40 vertical, keeps getting better and better and better. He's an early to mid-second round pick. That's why, if you see some guys I mentioned, like an Isaiah Coulter from Rhode Island, you can get him in the 4th round. If you can see an Antonio Gibson from Memphis in the 3rd round, you can get some of these guys late. Where does a Colin Johnson from Texas go with his kind of size? Where does a Devin Duvernay, a slot receiver out of Texas, where does he fall? I mentioned KJ Hill, an overlooked guy from Ohio State. He's a really good player. He doesn't have the elite numbers, but all he does is produce. He's the kind of guy who can get lost in the shuffle again. And then you get the kind of, I would say, the talented guys who put up the numbers expected, like a Donovan Peoples-Jones. A guy like Malcolm Perry from Navy, former quarterback, projected like Antoine Randall to a wide receiver position. I haven't even mentioned some guys like Quez Watkins from Southern Miss who came out early and tested well. So it's just the depth. All these guys that we're talking about, not even mention a lot of guys. I mean, it goes easily 35 to 40 deep in terms of guys who can play in this league.
Thank you.
Luke Johnson, and then Joe Rudder with the Pittsburgh Times.
Two-part question here. First up, I wanted to ask you, the Saints don't have a ton of need per se, but do you see any specific positions that would make sense for them to address at the end of the 1st round? And then what stands out to you about this LSU class?
Yeah, in terms of the Saints, I still think linebacker is something they could address. Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma, Patrick Queen from LSU, Zach Vaughn from Wisconsin. There's going to be some linebackers where the Saints are picking. They're going to be really attractive. Corner, if you want to know Iguabanahe there from Auburn, that might be a little high. It's a drop-off after C.J. Henderson is the 2nd corner, so I don't know if they'll be able to see that as something. If you're picking 24, you want a guy in your top, say, 15 to 20 on the big board. I think that would be more inclined to be a linebacker like Murray or Queen or Vaughn. At that particular point in round 1. In terms of LSU, I talked about a lot of those guys. I haven't talked a lot about Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver, had a great year. He became more consistent catching the ball, really benefited from Joe Brady's influence as well. Ran 4.43 at the combine, 37.5 vertical, on the heels of what you saw during his career and the improvement. I think he's solidly in that. I'd say for him, 19 to the Raiders, 21 to Philadelphia, 22 to Minnesota, in that area for Justin Jefferson. And then Grant Delpit, the pro day was going to be important, obviously. We'll see what happens in terms of Delpit and what he runs, but didn't have the year expected. I think he's more of a I'd say solid 2nd rounder, at worst early 3rd rounder for Delpit, who's dropped down a bit from where he was projected back in August.
Go to Joe Rudder, and then Ben Strauss with the Washington Post.
Yeah, hi, Mel. Do you see the Steelers getting a playmaker at 49, and what are some of the guys you think might be available to them there?
Well, I think if you look at what they could be looking at in terms of players, the way that the defensive cornerback position, the interior defensive tackle, at a running back, and I think that's where the running back depth will allow that to happen. Like I say, Zach Moss from Utah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU, Keyshawn Vaughn, Vanderbilt. I mentioned Darrington Evans from Appalachian State. Some defensive tackles, with Hargrave moving on. I think you look at guys like Jordan Elliott, Missouri, Devon Hamilton from Ohio State. I think James Lynch from Baylor reminds me a lot of Dean Lowry when he came out of Northwestern. You get him in early day 3. Neville Gallimore, Oklahoma, Ross Blacklock, TCU. There's some really good. I think 2nd, Justin Madubuike from Texas A&M. If he doesn't go in the late 1st, it'd be a good 2nd rounder. Gallimore's got a 2nd round grade. Blacklock has a 2nd, so I'm thinking 1st on Blacklock. Elliott's got a 2nd round grade. Say Lynch has a 4th round grade. Hamilton has a 3rd round grade. So there's a lot of defensive tackles in this draft that could help the Steelers.
We'll go to Ben Strauss, and then Josh Dubois with the Associated Press.
Mel, have current events or actions in free agency changed your thoughts on if the Washington Redskins should draft Tua?
I think when you talk about what happened there with Kyle Allen, obviously, being brought in, it seems like Chase Young would be the guy. Tua's medical and the question marks there may prevent that from happening. It would be something in a perfect situation you would have thought would have been possible. Take Tua and then see what happens. But I think Chase Young, the great pass rusher, would make sense there. Hope that Dwayne Haskins is the guy. You brought in Kyle Allen, obviously, with the familiarity there. I think you look at right now where the Redskins are in terms of a team. It revolves around the offensive line doing their job with Haskins, getting another receiver. They should be able to benefit from this group. You've got a strong group, and Terry McLaurin had a really impressive rookie year. So I think in terms of the second pick now, I think Chase Young, you would almost lock it in.
We'll go to Josh Dubow and then Courtney Cronin with ESPN Minneapolis.
Well, you talked a little bit about the quarterbacks who have benefited by sitting. Early on when they were drafted, are there guys that you looked at back that you thought would have been good who maybe would have been able to benefit from that and playing right away was detrimental to them?
That's an interesting question because every team's going to handle their quarterbacks differently in terms of expectations. When you draft a guy like Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, 1-2, they're going to have to play right away. And then other quarterbacks, if you draft a little later, they have to wait. And even though Russell Wilson was a third-round pick, and they brought in Matt Flynn that same year. Look what happened there. Everything's different. There's all different situations, and some are a little more complicated because of changes in terms of coordinators and what have you during a quarterback's career that plays into how good that quarterback is. But I just think in terms of Tua, it's pretty simple. The medical forces almost that to happen this year. So I think in terms of what happens with Joe Burrow and then going to the Bengals, obviously Andy Dalton more than likely heading on somewhere in the trade. You think about where quarterbacks can go in this draft after that. You look at the third quarterback and where the quarterbacks are going to be picked. And the teams that may take him, Justin Herbert, if he goes to Miami or the Chargers, are they going to let him sit, watch, and learn for a while? Jordan Love, if he goes to the Raiders, they have Derek Carr. It'll be a great spot because he needs to sit. So I think Love would be in a good spot going to the Raiders. Herbert with the Chargers, they have Tyrod Taylor. Miami, would they let him wait and sit, watch, and learn? Burrow going to Cincinnati. So you can see some scenarios there where quarterbacks are going to have to play. Others, if they go, say if Love went to the Raiders, it would be a perfect scenario for him.
Courtney Cronin and then Prene Malampati with Baylor.
Courtney Cronin has disconnected.
Okay, we'll go to Prene Malampati with Baylor and then Mike Kay with NewJersey.com.
No. Can you talk about what you see in Denzel Mims and the potential he brings, and then whether he would be a good fit with the Eagles at 21?
Yeah, Mims, the kind of year he had, you think about, all-star scenarios going down and doing what he did there. You think about a 4.38 40, almost a 40 or 38.5 vertical. The size, almost 6'3", almost 210 pounds. What you want to do is nail the process. Have the year, all-star, combine, and if it all comes together positively, you're going to soar up the board, and he did. And some separation there after, people say after the top three, and there is. I mean, after Judy, and after Lamb, and after Ruggs, and T. Higgins, then you're looking for that fifth receiver. Justin Jefferson nailed the process as well. He had a great year, then a great combine. Mims did as well. So I think Mims and Jefferson, along with Higgins, are all vying for that fourth receiver off the board spot. And that's going to determine, like I say, the team you go to. You're talking about several teams in that area needing wide receivers. I could see Dallas taking one, even though they got a lot of money wrapped up in Cooper. I could see certainly Vegas taking one at 19. I could see Philadelphia, Minnesota. You could see certainly Minnesota at 25, all looking at wide receivers. With Minnesota with those two picks, one of those two picks, you would have to think is a wide receiver. So I think there's a great spots for Mims, like I say, anywhere between 19 and, say, 25.
Mike Kay and then Joey Kaufman with the Columbus Dispatch.
What linebackers do you like? Which linebackers do you kind of like in that second to third round range that maybe have a little bit more athletic ability, not finished product, but guys that can kind of move and have a lot of range?
I would say Alex Highsmith from Charlotte gives you that combo guy. who tested pretty well and showed that Charlotte, as a former walk-on, what he could do getting after the quarterback. He gives you dual versatility. So I think he's intriguing. I think Zach Vaughn is a guy you can move around, get a lot of production as a pass rusher. You can do a lot of things with him inside, outside. I think he's certainly one of the more versatile guys. I mentioned Julian Okwara from Notre Dame as well. It's a guy that gives you that. Anthony Jennings from Alabama would fall into that same category. So those are some of the guys. I think Jonathan Grenard from Florida as well would be a guy to look at if he drops a little bit because he didn't run as well as expected at the combine. As I already mentioned Bradley and I from Utah. So those are some of the more versatile guys that could give you a lot of flexibility once you bring them into the fold.
Joey Kaufman is next, and then Drew Davison with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram.
Joey Kaufman has disconnected.
Okay, let's try Drew Davidson, please.
You guys, but just curious to think, we got Blacklock, Gladney, Rager, who's most likely to maybe slip into the first round, and then specifically with Rager, how hard is it to kind of scout and evaluate him when you get a true freshman quarterback and the passing offense maybe working on level with some of these other guys?
Yeah, I think in terms of Rager, you saw enough at TCU. I mean, he became a guy who you looked at and viewed as a fear factor player once he's in the NFL. Oh, that's how I would put him on my fear factor list. Anytime you get a guy with his kind of athleticism, I like the compact frame. I love his speed, his athleticism. To me, he's a second-round pick who's going to play a long time in this league and be highly productive. But Ross Blacklock, I think, has a chance to be a person. I didn't see the consistency in terms of sack production, game in and game out. There were games he was a little too quiet, a little too much hand fighting at the line of scrimmage. I didn't see the ability in the backfield to wreak havoc on a consistent basis. With Blacklock, Todd's higher on Blacklock than I am. He thinks he's a first. I think he's a second. Gladney, I like. People think it's a little handsy at times, but hey, his coverage skills, his feet, his awareness. It wouldn't shock me if he went in the late first. I think more second round though for him. So I think Rager second, Gladney second. I think Blacklock second as well. As I said, Todd, I think had Blacklock in his first.
We'll go to Zach Klein with ABC Atlanta. Zach, go ahead with your question.
DeAndre Swift, why you have him be number one running back? What sets him apart from the field? And is there a comp you can hook us up with? Well, I think what sets him apart is the completeness. As a runner, receiver, blocker, and ball security. All four areas, he comes out on top ahead of J.K. Dobbins and Jonathan Taylor. Now, Dobbins is a fierce runner. I think he's the best running back. Pure runner. He and Jonathan Taylor will be the two best pure runners. I think when you look at hands, who gets the edge over both? Ball security gets the edge over both. Even though I think Swift is even though Dobbins is a better receiver right now than Taylor. Taylor needs to improve as a receiver and have better ball security. 18 fumbles, 15 lost at Wisconsin is a concern. He had the fumble against Oregon in the Rose Bowl when he was tripped by Troy Dye. Dropped a swing pass in that game as well. So I think Taylor, great runner, tested phenomenal, 4.39 at 226 pounds coming out of Wisconsin. That's why I think he's a second rounder, not a first. I think Dobbins is an early to mid-second as well. I think Swift, I'd say because of the completeness, is intriguing for Tampa Bay at 14, Miami, whether you look at 18 or 26. And guess what? The problem is, if you don't go to Tampa or you don't go to Miami, what other team is going to prioritize running back to take to DeAndre Swift if Tampa and Miami don't? That's the tough part of a mock first round. Swift is one of the best 20 players in this draft right now on the big board. For me, it's 17. It's just finding a fit for a running back when most teams are very well fortified at that position.
All right, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. I do realize we had some technical difficulties. If anyone has a question or concern, please feel free to give me a call or send me a note. But we will have more calls, so please keep an eye out for those future advisories, and thanks for being with us on the phone.